Nothing quite inspires me to clean like laying eyes upon a bug. That's right, I woke up and I saw a bug this morning. So, although I was thinking about putting off the next round of cleaning and audio recording, that definitely inspired me to keep going because I cannot stand bugs. That's going to be a little bit of a theme in my cleaning this area as well because I have seen bugs like behind the cushions of that couch. I see those little silverfish, which never used to happen before. But yeah, super gross, and I want to make sure they are totally gotten rid of and taken care of in a bad way. Anyway, I decided to start this, obviously working from top to bottom. So one of the things I've been meaning to do for a long time is get these pictures hung up. And I've had them since before we moved in here many years ago. But I just never put them up because I've always had other things that I prioritized over it. So since we love space, this room's a little bit of a space theme here in the living room. So we've got that amazing painting that actually a good friend of mine sent when we first moved in. And she gave that to us for a present. And then this one that I'm hanging up is something I made for when my husband and I got engaged, back before I was out as a trans guy. Oh, you can see me struggling to actually like get it on the wall. I don't know why it's so difficult for me to get paintings on the or pictures hung up on the wall. Anyway, it's you can't really see it, but it's a little pixelated thing I made, which if there's any interest, I'll put up a link to it. I'll take a picture of it. And he's like kneeling down where he proposed to me in the park and speaking in like little binary 0101 in a depiction of him asking to marry me in binary and then me saying yes in binary. But for some reason we're in a tuxedo and wedding dress, so I don't know. It was cute. I saw something like that online when I made those and decided to kind of put the background, my own little twist on it, make it the park where he proposed to me. Which, it's funny because I never really talk about this, but the actual proposal that we had was just really, I don't know. I wasn't happy during it. Like, I wanted to marry him, and it wasn't about that. It was more like, I don't know, I was just disappointed with it. I think partially because I had so much like going on with my body image and feeling unattractive and unbeautiful, and I was like crying about that. So not exactly the most romantic proposal, but I still knew that I wanted to marry him, and I knew that since the day I met him in person, pretty much. The first time we had a conversation. I actually met him, we met online talking about politics and stuff, and we exchanged a lot of emails back and forth, and then I decided to kind of meet him like at his job, like see him there, just to make sure, he wasn't creepy or anything, and was who he said he was. And then we had our first like actual conversation at a book and coffee shop. And by the time he was leaving that day, like I knew I really liked him, and then I saw him get on a motorcycle, and I thought to myself, yeah, I'm gonna marry him. So I did, and I lucked out. So anyway, I'm very happy with how that turned out because he's a really great guy, and I'm very lucky. So anyway, I guess that's just me saying, like, the supposed big moments don't have to actually be big romantic things. And that took me a while to learn. And even though at the time, like, my own issues kind of got in the way of me enjoying it, I look back and really appreciate the we were able to work through that. And I was able to get through my stuff and appreciate that I still wanted to marry him. So what I'm doing when I vacuum the couch here is I'm going to be putting some borax in behind the cushions. Not where anyone is going to touch it or come into contact with it. But I just really want these bugs dead. Like, I am so sick of it. The rooms that I finished cleaning, the dining room and the kitchen, I went this morning actually and put squirted some pest control stuff to just kind of reapply it, since I scrubbed really well in there, and that I figured that probably took up the pest control stuff that had been previously sprayed. And I just want to be sure. And I think maybe that's why I saw a bug, because with the rooms that I'm cleaning, they're probably scattering toward the rest of the house. And yeah, so we're probably going to be seeing more of them in the rooms I haven't gotten to yet, which is disgusting. But hopefully, like, being methodical about it and getting every room just really thoroughly clean and treated with pest control stuff, they will have nowhere to hide anymore, and they can all die. Does that sound awful? Anyway, I'm just really not about bugs. I don't know how many other people are super disgusted by bugs in their home. It's just a really strong, like, visceral disgust that I have. And I'm looking forward to having a pest-free home. So I'm going to be... It took me a while. I think that the bulk of my time was spent vacuuming cushions because I wanted them super clean. I also do this every time my aunt is going to come over because she has some allergies to cats. So I always vacuum the cushions super thoroughly before she comes. So that's just, yeah, it's a pain, but to vacuum them anytime that I am vacuuming them. But it's worth it to have it clean. So I'm not upset about it at all. And that couch gets, like, kind of gross in there. Like, food and stuff falls in between the cracks. That's probably why bugs end up there. But hopefully not anymore. Anyway, I am going to be very glad to be sitting on a couch that is super clean now. That is going to be well worth the effort I put in here. It's actually like a super small space where the living room is. It's kind of an L shape, and so it was challenging finding a small enough couch to fit in this space, but I did eventually find one that looked decent and wouldn't block the window too much. I've played around with trying to put the end table on either side of the couch. I think I like it better on this side. I used to have it on the other, but it's a small weird space. Like, I don't know how they chose to have the cable hookup over here, but they did. So that's ultimately how we ended up deciding where things go in the room. We may change it around one day. My husband's always talked about wanting to get up into the attic crawl space and wire up the house with Ethernet everywhere. But that would be a pretty big job, and it's just not something we've really had the time to get around doing. Things to be getting in all the little nooks and crannies there. I don't want this couch super clean. I even pull it out after I finish this and get the back really well. And I don't know how long it had been since anyone cleaned behind the couch. My husband actually did say he cleaned behind there maybe a month or so ago, which I was surprised because I don't know that he usually does a lot of the deep cleaning, but I guess he does. So that was a pleasant surprise. There was some stuff I had to scrub off the floor that had been caked on. I don't even know how it gets behind there. And I found one of my daughter's juice bottles back there too. So it's good to periodically just pull out the couch and get behind it really well, because stuff does get back there. And that's one thing I do like about it, is it's not really heavy, so it's nice to just be able to easily pull it out by myself. Let me getting the chemicals on there really good. The borax. Whenever I have borax, I think of the season 7 of Supernatural. If any of you have watched that, but they use the borax to defeat the Leviathan, which was kind of funny. That was a funny season. It seemed like a lot of people didn't like that season, but I thought it was actually one of the better ones. Definitely better than I didn't like the British Men of Letters season. That one was not my cup of tea. I don't know. I just didn't find it really compelling. But yeah, I'm off screen a little bit here, getting that side. It was a little bit of a challenge finding a good angle for the camera on this one as well. But I pulled out a chair from the dining room to just set the laptop on while I filmed. But it's such a small space that I couldn't really move the couch and furniture and stuff out of the way enough to get a good view while I was filming it. Although I suppose I could have put it on the end table, but that was drying off after I wiped it. I had that little coaster I showed much earlier when I was cleaning the end table that I keep on there. I think I made that little tile when I was a kid, probably in like grade school or something, and I guess I still have it. And it works as a coaster. It's nice to be able to hold on to things from when you were young, like, and have an actual use for them. I'm really into things being sustainable and not wasting things, and I don't know. I think that's probably the main thing that's kept me from being full minimalist, is this desire to not waste all the things that I have and to not just get rid of them. But at the same time, like, there's the whole eco-minimalist movement, and I think that's really awesome in terms of, like, not buying a bunch of new things. And I do try to not just buy stuff. I've gotten a lot better about, reducing what I'm actually buying in terms of just, like, stuff that I don't need. But we still end up with a lot of stuff because my daughter gets things, and it's hard for her to part with things. So that's something that I'm hoping we can instill in her more as she grows older, but, without the any psychological damage. It's kind of a balance because I want to respect her first and foremost and her belongings, because those are her belongings. So I don't want to just be getting rid of things without her permission. But at the same time, like, I try to talk to her about the benefits of having less stuff and how that can help her stay more organized. Because I think, I was talking about this with my husband yesterday, actually, and I think her having so much stuff makes it really difficult for her to keep her things organized and clean. So, I don't know. We were talking about, like, can we put some sort of limit on how many things people get her? But then how would we actually enforce that? I don't know. Because I have a feeling that some people might not listen if we put a limit on, like, please only buy her X amount of things, or please just get her experiences. And then if some people don't listen, then the other people that do listen are probably going to say, wow, that's unfair because so-and-so got to buy them, X, Y, and Z, and we only got to buy them Z. I don't know. Even if they wouldn't say that, it might, like, foster feelings of unfairness, of the situation being unfair. But also at the same time, when my daughter is wanting presents, it's usually a lot of things that she wants. So, I don't know. It's a whole thing. I think if she were saying more like, oh, I want these experiences, and also like decluttering her stuff more on her own, then possibly things would get better. But, and in terms of like how much stuff she has, but I don't know. We do a big declutter twice a year though, around her birthday time and around Christmas time and holiday time, Hanukkah and all that. So she does kind of understand the decluttering process. And that floor was filthy. That was coming up like black, that rag. So I'm glad that I scrubbed it. So I think those declutterings twice a year help, but I don't think they're, enough. Some of it's got to be her own motivation. Typically, she says she hates cleaning, and yeah. So I'm kind of lucky I can even convince her to go through twice a year that I do. So I'm really getting those cushions good, luckily. They're going to be very nice and clean. They probably pick up a lot of cat hair. I'm going to need to empty that vacuum. It's probably full of cat hair. It's interesting thinking about the psychology and kind of practical reasons that people hold on to things, and where that line is for each individual person on what they keep and what they get rid of. I know for me, like, it helps to look at a space and think about what I really want that space to be used for, and then kind of get rid of everything in that room that doesn't serve that purpose. But what I struggle with is there end up being a lot of other things that we keep around that don't really have a home. So part of this whole process of going through the house and getting every space, how we want it, that's going to be a challenge there, is making sure everything has a home that we want. And I know, like, on a practical purpose, we don't want to just be, blindly getting rid of things without really thinking it through. And then since it's a shared space, we can't just get rid of things that are like communal, without everybody being in agreement. And then at the same time, like, I think we hold on to a lot of things that we don't need to, that are sentimental. So I've been really trying to go through, mostly in the guest room, a lot of the, like, sentimental things that I was holding on to. And I did get rid of a fair amount. I took one idea from some of the YouTube videos that I saw where it suggested to just have a box of sentimental things. And once that box is filled up, that's it. You don't get any more room to keep the sentimental things around. And I found that really helpful in reducing what I had. I found, like, all these birthday cards and stuff that I had saved for years and years and years, and I went through those as, both objectively and also thoughtfully as I could. I kept a few of them that were really special, and then I got rid of a lot of other ones that, weren't at that threshold. And that was an interesting process of going through those. But how often do I really go back and look at the things and value them when I do? I also do this one kind of weird thing where, like, I'll have certain sentimental items, like letters or cards that people have written to me that were very meaningful, and I'll put those in, like, little pockets around the house, a drawer here, whatever there. And they just kind of brighten my day when I find them, which is neat. So you can see my daughter left her, she likes those Armour Lunchable things. She doesn't actually like actual Lunchables. I don't know what the generic name for those are. Anyway, she likes those Armour Lunchable things, and she left them on the ground instead of cleaning it up. So I guess the cleaning tax is me taking the Crunch Bar out of it. She actually told me it's okay. So she said she was actually like overwhelmed by the amount of candy she has in her drawer because for every holiday she ends up with a bunch of candy in her cupboard. I think I said drawer earlier. I mean cupboard. Anyway, so she has this like bowl full of candy and she's limited on how much she can have a day. So she was like, I think I'm good on candy, Dad. I need some help getting through it. So I've been trying to help her get through it a little bit, although I've run out of ones that I actually like. So I'm hoping, and maybe she's hoping, that it can be significantly reduced by Halloween when she is probably going to be getting a lot more candy again. I love that little Thwomp pillow. That was a treat for myself that I got for Christmas this last year. And I saw it in the store and it was so soft and adorable, and I just thought I deserved, a nice little treat for Christmas. It's kind of interesting to me, like, I don't know, maybe interesting is not the right word, but I think about it sometimes, like, Christmas hasn't been the same since my bio mom died many, many years ago. And this is probably something a lot of people can relate to when someone important to you dies and how, like, holidays change. And the first Christmas without her was, like, so hard. Like, I think one of the presents that someone gave me was, like, a literal trash can. And my bio mom had always, really made it special at holidays. And for the longest time, I just hated holidays because they could never measure up to, how she made me feel on holidays, which was, like, really listened to about what I wanted and really understood and heard. And those were probably the closest memories I had with her, were how we celebrated holidays together. And so I just remember, like, crying that Christmas because she wasn't there and she wasn't able to, make it special in her way. I think I went and visited my maternal grandmother that day, and I was just, it was really devastating to me. So, I don't know. Over the years, I've found other ways to make holidays special, but I don't think anyone will ever make it exactly the same, obviously, as she could make holidays. And that's to be expected, now that I'm older and have some perspective on it. It's really never going to be the same because nobody else is her. Okipo, The Age of the Wonder Beast. That is a really great series. It's on Netflix, and I really wanted to support it. So we actually got the DVDs of it. Truly a great series. Really great characters. And a great redemption arc, which I love. Anyway, grief is hard. And I know there's no, like, timeline on it. I think it'll always be a little difficult. In some ways, I'm never going to get those same feelings as when I was a kid. But at least I can kind of recreate that for my daughter and give her really special holidays. And being able to see her happy and bring her joy is kind of healing for me because, I can't get that same joy. Like, I can feel happy on holidays now. I'm finally at that point. But it's never going to be that, like, kid-like joy, I think. The way that my mom knew how to give me on holidays. And it's not to say that I don't appreciate what other people do for me on holidays now, because I definitely do, and I'm very grateful for that. I think people who have had that loss, they can understand where I'm coming from here. It's not about being ungrateful, but it is about, like, missing that person who's gone and that grief. So it's a whole, complicated thing. And I am glad that I'm finally able to enjoy holidays again, because for a long time I would just avoid people on holidays for many years, and especially, like, Thanksgiving, because that was my mom's favorite holiday. now I can actually go to Thanksgiving with people. I remember that first year I sat it out. Everyone was like, why? But I just went and like sat in a Walmart and was sad. And then I think I went into a park and sat at a park and was sad. I think people need to be able to grieve in their own way without judgment. And I did feel a lot of like pressure to just get back to normal when I was going through that grieving process. And I think that, complicated it and made it take longer than it would have, maybe. But I know it didn't help to be pressured to, get over it or act in a certain way in a certain timeline. Like, I was lucky that I even got to take a week off of school, I think. So, I don't know. While holidays won't be the same, they will be great and are great in their own ways with the people that I do have now. And it helps to think about how much I appreciate them and how lucky I am to have them. And I think it's okay to have, mixed feelings on holidays, especially when you're grieving. You can feel that gratitude and happiness and also at times feel a little bit sad. And that's okay. You're allowed to feel whatever you need to feel. And it's not a judgment on you. It doesn't make you bad to have different feelings, have conflicting feelings with grief. I think a lot of people feel judged for their feelings, not just with grief, but in a lot of situations. And I think that's something we really need to work on as a society. I see a lot of that, like, with how people treat kids, too. It's really hard when I see people tell kids, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, get over it. Or, like, okay, why are you so upset about that? It doesn't matter, it's just a small thing. Think about this other big thing that would actually be upsetting. And it's like, no, hey, they're allowed to feel how they feel. Just because they're feeling a certain way doesn't excuse, disrespectful behavior. But you need to allow kids to just feel it, and they're going to get past it a lot sooner if you just allow them to feel it. And it seems like that's really hard for people to just let kids and let other people just feel things. Like, they take it personally, almost. Like, I've seen it happen where a kid will be upset about something, and yeah, it's a minor thing, but to them it's important, and we have to respect. I think it's important to respect, because we don't have to, but it is important to respect that they're feeling that way. And instead of trying to change it, just let them feel it. It's okay. Be there for them. I always give my daughter an option of, like, hey, if there's something I can do to help you while you're feeling this way, I will. If you want to hug, or if you want to, read together or something, or draw together. I'm here to help you through it. We can breathe together, whatever it is that would help. Or you can go by yourself for a little bit. That's okay too. Which I think sometimes parents take offense to that when kids try to go self-regulate alone. But my daughter's a lot like me in that she prefers to self-regulate alone a lot of the time. And I don't think that's necessarily like a rejection thing, where some people might take it as that. It's more, when at least I know for myself, when I am really upset, it takes some time to be able to process things in a rational way. And I know that if I'm around other people, I'm probably going to lash out, say something that I end up regretting. And it helps to just kind of have a quiet space to be able to feel that feeling without, worrying that anyone's going to judge me for it. And without anyone watching me, because, I like to experience my feelings privately a lot of times. Just have that privacy to process And I imagine maybe some of that is going on for her too. I think she also has seen me self-regulate by, I go to my room if I start to get really upset and say, like, I just need a couple minutes to, calm myself down. And she's probably seen me self-regulate in that way and will do that herself. It's always a little bit weird to me, like, when people try to bribe or convince a child out of their feelings. And it's like, you're setting them up for some really unhealthy coping mechanisms, because that's what a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms, like, self-harm or using substances and lashing out, it's all ways to avoid feeling those uncomfortable feelings. And the younger we can be comfortable feeling those uncomfortable feelings in a safe way, the sooner we can learn to self-regulate in a healthy way and deal with those feelings in a healthy way, and then, communicate when we need to about what needs to change. So I think it's in the long run definitely a lot more helpful to just let people feel their feelings and do it in a non-judgmental way. It's funny cleaning the floor with the duster there, but hey, it works. It's effective. I'm not about functional fixedness, so we are all good. And that floor is getting nice and clean. I'm dusting off all that furniture there off to the right of the screen, and just getting this place really nice, really very, very clean. That's what I want. Can you tell I like things clean? I don't know. Maybe I should say it a few more times. I figured I would give that satisfying sweep here and then vacuum up, where I get all that dirt and it's just all gone. That little square there, rectangle, whatever that is, we tried to put these like grippy things onto the bottom of the rug because the rug kept like sliding and stuff, but it didn't exactly work. Maybe because we got it from like the dollar store. I was hopeful, but yeah, it would be nice to be able to get that rug to like stay on the floor better, grip it better. My cat loves to like, I don't know, run at the rug at a high speed and then like slide, and then it gets all like bunched up and stuff. See, I clipped my nails before I did this, and I was talking earlier in another video about how like having my long nails was helping me scrape up the stuff. But hey, I managed. I got the stuff up. It wasn't actually too bad in this room. That floor definitely needed it. A lot of times my daughter wants to like eat in front of the TV, so there'll be like spills and stuff in this area. So we have to wipe this area more than the rest of the house, probably. Well, I should say we do. This is the first half of my living room space that I'm getting cleaned. So the next video is going to be the next area. So we're just about to the end of this, and I am really happy with how this turned out. I'm probably going to go through that drawer in the end table. I mean, my daughter has a lot of like paper dolls in there, and maybe just put those in her room so that they're in her space to deal with, and have and put some more appropriate things in there that belong in this room. But yeah. This turned out really great. The room felt so much lighter after I got it all cleaned and nice. And just setting it up so you can see, the final result. Heart, thwomp, comfortable. Space rug. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here to clean with me. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.